Welcome to part 4.
Yeah.
Ursa. This part's dedicated to you, sweetheart.
Yes.
So this segment has been brought to you by former Princess Ursa.
Completely.
And utterly.
How did I pick my URL? It was literally the only thing I could think of. I figured everything else had already been taken. I couldn't do, Lieutenant Colonel Hughes, or I couldn't do Maze Hughes. I couldn't do anything obvious. It was quite literally the only thing I could think of. She can vouch for the fact that I was bitching about it for how long? A good 30 minutes at least, making
Something
this long?
like that. I don't like this name. The name's fine.
I can't think of anything else. Help me.
It's a perfect name.
I can't think of anything else.
It's perfect.
I can't think of anything else. And now I get to. I'm apparently never allowed to change it. So.
Turning this slightly because it needs more centered.
Whatever. You just want more screen time.
Well, you get all the talk time. All right. With me, as far as picking my URL, it was maybe this one. Nope, that's taken. Oh, but this one. Nope, that's taken. Hawkseye Riza is not taken. Yes. Yeah, that's not mine. I got.
How do you get into the muse? How don't I?
There will be times where she'll go, "Oh, I'm smirking again. Oh, my hair's doing it again."
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hughes. These chairs, like, you just slouch. There is no posture in these.
We will be discussing something that has to do with an arc, or we'll be discussing something completely different. And if Hughes would, and just associate with our characters. And at least half the time, I end up doing something with, I'll say something, and well, you see.
Hi, Hughes. You were sitting like him.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay, we've even discussed how they sit. When Hughes and Riza are together, they will face the exit, and his arm will be behind her because he's got his sheets. So this one is ready to strike.
Ready to throw.
This hand, relaxed, loose. This hand, for me, would be, if I had my purse on me, I don't. Purse would be in between the two of them, right there, ready to fire instantly.
This goes especially for the early days of Hughes. When we describe how they sit, what they're doing in the restaurant, this is pretty much how they're sitting.
If they're across from each other at the table, they're both facing an exit.
They have line of sight. That they sit across from each other if there are 2 exits in the building, and one of them has line of sight on each exit.
Yeah, ways we are our muses.
And that's not even getting into the way the rest of my body language changes.
I'll film you walking later.
God. In cosplay, I actually have a character fix for Hughes. His fix is his sheaths. It felt very, very strange for me the first time I cosplayed him because I didn't have anything. It was a casual cosplay anyway because I didn't have the uniform at the time. I bought it at that con, but it felt.
She was ecstatic. I got texts.
Yeah. But it felt very, very weird. It was like he was walking around naked because I didn't have his sheaths. So what I ended up doing was I got these little peewee shin guards, and I super glued Velcro to them. And they're the perfect size, and they had the right weight.
The moment she put them on, it was next to my kitchen table, her posture and the look in her eyes changed. Even my friend, who's a brand new cosplayer, went, "Oh, that's why she cosplays Hughes."
So it's not necessarily a way. I don't really have a how. It just happens on its own half the time.
Meanwhile, hi, I'm Riza.
Right. So
I don't try to be Riza. I really don't.
What's yours next?
Oh, I'm going to some of mine? Okay. How did you get into FMAB? Funny story. Y'all hear me bitch about weight all day long. I am constantly struggling with my weight. It's hereditary. It's genetics. I'm always fighting weight. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to give this anime thing a try. Bleach. 30 minutes long. well, 20 minutes if you don't count commercial breaks. 20 minutes is a good time on the elliptical to get started. Bleach is an action anime. I'm going to start moving and I'm going to end up looking like them. I got about 2 seasons in, stopped watching it on the elliptical because I ran out of episodes that I could watch on Netflix and ended up having to try to find them. And Bleach was my first anime, and my sister goes, "You need to watch this FMA thing." Okay, when I finished Bleach, a couple months later, I got into FMA. It actually only took me a couple months to get through Bleach. I was watching 4 or 5 episodes a day. I was currently unemployed.
I'm currently laughing at the idea of finishing Bleach.
I know, that's an oxymoron. This fake Taite Kubo. But Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, I started with 03 and was like, oh, okay, it's I mean, feels and everything, and something didn't sit quite right with me. And then I watched Brotherhood. Brotherhood. Why Riza?
Really?
Really? How are you like Riza in real life?
How is she not?
Really?
How am I like Hughes in real life?
Here's the way I'm not like Riza. I still have both my parents, and I have siblings, and I have a great relationship with both.
Here's the way I'm not like Hughes. I'm a girl.
Yeah. Pretty much. You've never been to war.
Yeah.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have a kid.
I don't have a kid.
Yet.
Oh.
You become a mom. You would.
I don't have a push knife. Yet.
We found one today.
We did.
It's pretty.
I'd never actually seen one, and it's like it's affordable.
It's $15.
I might be begging my father for it when he gets into town. Yeah, it's not.
That's about it.
Yeah, it's easier to list how we're not like our characters.
I don't have any. Well, I do. I don't have any real guns
Yet.
on me within easy access.
There you go.
And I don't have a Shiba Inu. I have a horse.
Okay. I have a lecture. How do you feel things would have continued had Hughes not died?
They wouldn't have.
Katie has heard me speak on this at length.
Why do you think I'm getting comfortable?
Here's what you have to understand is Hughes figured out pretty much everything of import. He knew about the Philosopher's Stone and what it was made of. He knew what the circle for it looked like. He knew that that circle was being built around Amistris and had been since the country had been founded, because it goes all the way back to Riviere, which in turn means that whoever is setting this up has to have been doing this for a long-ass time and has to have been in control, which means the highest position in the country, which means the Fuhrer, which means Bradley. He had to die because he knew too much. If he hadn't died, the story would have been a lot shorter.
And it wouldn't have been the Fullmetal Alchemist. It would have been the intelligence officer.
Pretty much. If Hughes had not died, he would have told Roy, they are making an alchemical circle around the country. They are trying to make the Philosopher's Stone. This is what goes into the Philosopher's Stone. This is what makes it. They are trying to kill this country to make a Philosopher's Stone. He didn't know the full plan. He didn't know anything about Father. He knew about the homunculi, but he didn't know about Father.
He didn't know about Promise Day.
He didn't know about Promise Day. He didn't know why they were doing it. He would have assumed that it was for a Philosopher's Stone, which it kind of was, but that's neither here nor there. He would have warned Armstrong at Briggs. He would have warned Olivier. Watch out for this.
Now, ultimately, it didn't end up being Briggsman that died. It ended up being Drachman. But warning her to keep an eye out for bloodshed on either side, and this is what's going on, probably would have made it a lot harder for Kimberly to orchestrate that.
Also, would have found out about the circle. They would have found Sloth. They would have stopped Sloth.
And once they stopped Sloth, an incomplete circle doesn't work. So it would have been a completely different story. And instead of taking almost a year to complete, a little over a year, from the point that he died in summer. It takes about a month until Barry is found by Riza and questioned by Roy. And everything happens from between when he dies, which I usually estimate being in July or August, to the end of the year. End of the year is when, you know, they're making plans. Havoc is in the hospital. They've killed Lust, and Team Mustang has been separated. Catalina is now passing messages. That's when Roy gets the note. Be ready. Shut up. That's when Roy gets the message. By the next year, they're shearing sheep in Risen Bull. I looked it up. Sheep shearing happens in, late spring, early summer. So you're looking May or June. Now, there is a good month or so, at least, of stuff that happens before Hughes dies. The entire story, from beginning to end, takes about a year, give or take a month. Had Hughes not died, it probably would have been over by the end of the year. Because they would have known about the circle. They would have known that somehow they were drawing it where it couldn't be seen. And if you think about it logically, and this has come up in our Changing History thread, mm-hmm. I've had to try very, very difficult, very, very hard to not to meta. That's also how I know how long the story takes, because I put together a timeline. I've had to try very, very hard not to meta and not to give Hughes information that he wouldn't have. But there's only so much I can do when I know that he would think about it logically and from a distance, and figure out that if there aren't any obvious circles being drawn, you do not have, hold on, there's noise.
It's going to be a while. He's going to put you right here. Let's get some drink.
Yeah. But you do not have, shut up, leave me alone. You do not have natural landforms, rivers and canyons that are forming the circle. There's not, you can't make it with roads. He would have looked at maps, he would have looked at road maps, geological maps, every single kind of map he could find, he could get his hands on, to figure out how they were drawing the circle. If it's not being drawn on land, it has to be being drawn under it. They would have been looking for the tunnels. Once they found the tunnels, they would have found Sloth. A lot of men would have died because once the homunculi realized what was going on, Pride would have been thrown into action. And we've seen what happened when Pride hit the guys from Briggs. But they eventually would have found Sloth and stopped the tunneling.
Long story short, this story would have been a lot shorter.
Yeah. Hughes, his death had to happen. Mm-hmm. It is a fixed point in time in the FMA verse. You cannot change that in any AU, otherwise you change the entire story. That's why my default AU fakes his death the way it does, because it has to, otherwise the story changes dramatically.
All right. You done, Professor?
Shut up. Would you ever consider role-playing Hughes with another Riza, or just
Katie because we're perfect.
This is mine.
Good.
No one else is allowed. Thank you.
You heard the lady.
Mhm.
I don't argue with her. She has guns.
Lots of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's our baby.
Yeah. Were we not so protective of it, I might consider it. But because it has to be built in such a specific way, it's really, really iffy.
Beyond the fact that I suffer from really bad jealousy issues.
It would be one thing if, say, for example, there were another active Hughes who would be willing to try it. There's not that I've seen. So
There's a couple Hughes that'll pop up and they'll go away, and they'll pop up and they'll go away. There's like, yeah, I'm looking for a charger too. There's like 20 Rizas, something like that, and my ship. You guys get the Roys.
why Manga Hood over 03? I'm more familiar with the manga and with Brotherhood than 03. I prefer them over 03. Nothing against 03. 03 is a wonderful, wonderful show on its own merits.
Mhm.
I have nothing wrong with that. I do not like how Hughes is portrayed in 03.
I don't like how Riza's portrayed in 03.
There are a lot of things that characterization I dislike about 03. Taken on its own as a completely different entity, it's fine. People like it, and that I should probably give it a look through. Watch it through again. Especially because Hughes does have a larger role in it. You see him more. You see him around his family more, and that is a side of him that I do not actually bring out enough, I think.
You can wear that in a mall.
But what I really don't like about 03 is the fact that he actually says outright that he wasn't an Ishval, he had a desk job. That does not agree with the cunning, calculating, dark man that we see who figures out Juliet Douglas and who does not hesitate to attack lust when she comes out in 03. The man who avoided battle to take a desk job, no, it doesn't mesh in my mind.
And Riza in 03, my main issue with her is that she's not a subordinate. She rules the roost. She fakes following Roy. Everybody knows she runs the show. And to an extent she does in Brotherhood, but it's more of she's everybody's secretary in Brotherhood. Hey, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. Come on, guys, pay attention. She's the mom.
To put it in Bleach terms, in 03, she is the captain, where she should be
the lieutenant.
The lieutenant. She should be the Nanao to Hughes' Shinsui, to Roy's Shinsui. Everybody's Shinsui, really. It's like, no, I need this. I need this.
Yeah.
Sign this, please.
Yeah, but also in 03, something that bothers me, and it bothers me with seeing with other Rizas.
Mm-hmm.
They'll play with their guns. And number one rule of gun safety, real life, number one rule, do not ever pull out a gun unless you intend on firing it. Don't ever point a gun at someone, loaded or unloaded, unless you intend on firing it.
That's the number one rule of any weapon. That's the number one rule of knife safety, gun safety, anything. You do not pick up a weapon unless you intend to use it. And a soldier is taught you do not pull your weapon unless you intend to kill.
This is why I write Riza as almost afraid of her guns. I write her as being very leery and very tentative when using her weapons, because she knows she's killed. She has seen. She's killed children. She's killed families. She's seen what they can do. She knows how long it takes to have a bullet go from the barrel through someone's head and what that looks like.
She knows how to calculate the windage as well.
She's brilliant in math.
She has to be. Trigonometry, all that calculation she does like that because she has to. She is not someone who would pull out her gun and fire at a puppy piddling against a wall.
As much as that's no make. And,
Yeah,
and
but people treat that as canon.
it's not.
It's out of character for who we know her as and who we see her as in the manga and in Brotherhood.
And it bothers me a lot when I see fan art, especially Royai fan art, where they're gunplay. No, those guns are as far away from both of them as possible.
It's like with Hughes. I've gotten a few Anons that have asked whether he indulges in knife play in the bedroom, and the answer is no. Because those are weapons.
If anything, those are in a drawer.
They're in a drawer. They are within reach, certainly, because he is the kind of man that does not let his weapons go out of arm's reach. But they are not involved in anything like that. Ever.
The family does not touch the weapons.
Ever. Gracia knows where they are.
She probably knows how to use them.
She damn well does know how to use them because he has taught her. If he is not there and something happens, she needs to know how to defend herself and their daughter. But they are locked up. They are out of reach of Alicia. And as soon as that child stumbles across them, because it's inevitable, I did it when I was 5, she is going to start learning weapon safety. And the first rule is you leave it alone. You don't touch it.
I love how we've answered like 4 questions and we've used 20 minutes.
Yeah, well.
And that wasn't exactly answering that question, but yeah. Anyway.
Skip that. See, eat something strange. She suggested baby food.
No. How many times have you cosplayed Riza? I've lost track. I've cosplayed her since July 11. Have you ever considered writing a novel? I've written 5. Working on possibly editing and publishing 1 or 2 of them. Do I have a fanfiction.net account? Yes, I do. Merides, Merides. You'll find some Justice League fanfiction, a fun little Doctor Who Warehouse 13 crossover from the time there were only 3 episodes out, and yes, please, Doctor Who and Warehouse 13. I have 1 Riza fanfiction on there that you don't read because trigger warning on that.
Yeah.
I was proud of it, and I wanted it shown, and I didn't publish it on my page because triggering. Suicide triggers, but go read it. It's very, very good. I'm proud of that one. And I've got a couple others on there. I've got one ridiculously cute self-insert based on a true story from Justice League, and it's fun. It was based on Six Flags, and it was great. How are you so fabulous?
Magic.
Lots of magic. And
It sparkles. Yeah.
Where did I come up with the title Angel with a Shotgun? There's a wonderful song by The Cab. It's the one I'll sing later. How am I so amazing at writing? I go like this. Well, yeah, practice, but I go like this. How do English?
She does. I've seen her.
Yeah. I just cough up words.
Sometimes literally.
It's honestly is practice. There's a lot of practice. Grammar, spelling, all that fun stuff.
She and I have both been writing for...
Between the 2 of us, like 35 years.
Yeah, accumulated, if you add it together. Because I've been writing since I was...
The Mythbusters sense of...
Yeah.
Together they've been doing math, or doing writing for... Yeah.
Yeah.
What would your ideal voice acting role be if I were cast? Yeah, one that pays. I'd love to do like an Ayano from Kaze no Stigma. I think that would be a lot of fun. A character with a lot of emotion and expression, and
you should hear her Ash voice.
I'm not sure if I can. It's so dry out here. Yeah, hang on. Pikachu, I choose you. Pika! Yeah, that was loud.
It was high.
It was it echoed. We were in a long hallway.
Yeah.
This one kind of ties into yours. How did Hughes happen? And the question you have is Hughes. Go. All of it.
Have we answered this?
We kind of sort of answered this.
Yeah. We've answered
We've
this.
answered this. How did I pick my URL? We answered that one.
Yep.
When did I begin shipping Royai? Episode 1.
Didn't she?
Why is it called Royai? That's a fun one. A lot of times ship names are taken from the names of the characters. For example, Hughes, Riza.
It could also, for reasons that are about to be explained, be called Hughai, but Hughes is what we settled on.
Yeah. The AI and I basically translates to love. So Royai technically could mean any ship with Roy in it. But it's specifically assigned to Roy and Hawkeye because if you look at the literal way the translation is spelled out, Hawkeye ends in AI, not an EYE. And so you put Roy and Hawkeye together and it becomes Royai. So that's why it's called that. How long have we been RPing? We kind of answered that. When did we join Tumblr? October.
Yep.
On the same day.
How did we meet? Answered that.
Fun. I went like this. Bang! Come back here. Ow.
Revenge.
What other fandoms are we into? Firefly?
Soul Eater. Ish.
Doctor Who?
Discworld.
Sherlock. Mushishi. You're trying to get me to remember Kenshin.
Yes. Which
Well, that'll probably happen tonight.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, because you need to meet Kaoru. You
Okay,
will like Kaoru.
Okay.
Or on High School Hoska,
Yes.
which apparently I have a Tamaki Muse, God help me. Well, sort of altered.
I have a Haruhi Muse. And a Renegade. I am Renegade.
And I don't,
Oh my gosh, no. Okay.
I have Tamaki and you have Haruhi. We're doomed.
These damn rich people. Here's the thing. Pick a universe. Pick a fandom. We probably play the characters that are shipped together. This isn't intended.
Kaze no Stigma. Ayano. Kazuma.
Mushishi. Ginkgo. Tanyu. I think Fullmetal was the only one and
created
it.
Redwall. We're both into Redwall.
Oh, yes.
It was really funny. Not only did we figure out we were both into Redwall, we figured out we both had muses.
I forgot about my muse.
So did I. I didn't even know I had my otter.
Gosh. Okay. Brotherhood of 3Y, we answered that. Why does Hughes have more followers?
Because Hughes. That's really the only explanation I can come up with.
Because there's 16 other Rizas. How did you feel? Okay. Story time. I was talking with former Princess Urza, who sent in all these questions, and it was the first time she and I really Skyped together. And she just pops up with, so is Lieutenant Colonel Daddy like your real life boyfriend? I was on VidChat with this one, like we are just about every night. I just copied and pasted that.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
The funny thing is, we're walking through the mall today. We end up like this as we're walking. We're like, oh, this is why. And at cons, we use each other as the, oh, there's a creeper hitting on me.
Well, she does. I haven't had to yet because I crossplay.
Yeah, you're a guy. Boyfriend, come here.
No,
yeah.
they actually have.
It's happened.
Yeah. We're gonna have to cut it off there though, so Ursa gets like 1.5 or 2 segments.
Well, we'll just cut it off and start over again as soon as we find a charger. Ursa, we'll see you in just a second again.